So have you ever been at an event and someone offers you something that you sure you don't want to eat, and you kindly say, no, that's okay, I'm fine. And there's a little bit of an offense there, I've been talking about these health confessions and basically just speaking these things over ourselves to help us go in the direction that we need to go. It brings clarity and it assists us in direction and in even being empowered to give us that push and that boost that we need to go. And this is something I found to be really common, to where it's this anxiety or worry when I'm working with someone and we start to speak about these different options and ways of eating. It's this strong connection to food. I mean, there's been people, who even like their whole demeanor changes. They might interact with me, and then in another setting, they don't, it's almost like they want to stay away because they feel as though there might be judgment about what they eat or whatever it is. It's these things that we really need to let go of and to allow God to show us just how much it's damaging our lives. I mean, family connections are distorted because of these unhealthy connections to food. I mean, I know so many people that really hold food in a position that it shouldn't be in. A while ago, I was working with someone, they told me that their parent or someone in authority over them told them at one point, they said, food is not your friend. And I believe that this is the place that it's held. It's held a place of comforting us. It's that thing that we have control over, whether we stay away from something or over consume, whatever it is, it's something that we feel I'm empowered to be able to then take care of my need. And if you are suggesting that I pull away from this particular thing, or if it sounds like that, then I'm going to pull away from you. And it's not because they dislike the person, but it's this connection. And even when we think about food being offered as a way of love, and that's fine. You love to cook, you're expressing your love. However, if you're expressing yourself or you're in a way that another person has decided not to receive, it's not against you. And so this is this thing that I want to bring clarity to, and to really remind ourselves that food is not the ultimate expression of love. And for you and I to decide to take care of our health, to make sure or to do our part in not being a burden to someone later on in life. I mean, when I see a family member that is sick and they're trying to still maneuver and get around, like, it hurts. And so these family members, individuals taking care of themselves, is actually them loving me. You see, and that can be done in many ways, making sure that we handle the things that we can handle so that then we're not a burden on other people mentally, emotionally, financially. But really, I think beyond all that, really emotionally, because that's the most, that's the toughest thing to get through, is to see someone in a condition and you can't do anything about it. And when we think about the power we have in prevention and really wanting to be healthy and whole, the psychological damage, there's a physician, his name is Dr. Amen, and he's done brain scans on the brain. He's a psychiatrist, and even beyond, he's really extended past that point to really be honest about the ways that our thinking and our habits affect us. And he explained that there's actual grooves that are developed in the brain, like pathways, based on how the things that a person engages in, and that he can look at a brain and tell if the person there's some sort of addiction. And so we have to understand that we're actually doing damage to ourselves and to the other person. But what I want to also bring to the table when we think about these confessions is that it's such a sleight and a trick of the mind. I mean, I've been in situations to where it seems so intense emotionally, but once I put down my foot and say, no, I'm not feeling this today, it'll try to come back again. No, this is not what's happening. And just stepping out regardless of something that's trying to keep me captive, it'll pop. And it's like, where was that? And it happens sometimes if you engage in fasting. And of course, if you're overweight and you're having a hard time not eating, that's just because of the cravings, the toxic food that's coming for you, because you have enough stored fat to carry you for days on end. But mentally, And the triggers that have been things that have been triggered in our physical body, they can be a challenge, but the majority of it is mental. And I found, I'm thinking about one time in particular where I was like, how am I going to go this long without it? And that stronghold was that mentally, that emotion was so real, it was terrifying. Oh, I'm going to go how long, or I'm not going to be able to have this, or the issue is that, well, the ability to comfort myself was gone out of my hands if I agreed to this thing. And so I can understand to some extent this anxiety or anxiousness, because it can happen, it happens with food. But the thing about food is that food is something we actually need. Whereas with alcohol, we might have those withdrawals and we want to go towards it, or another drug, but ultimately we actually don't need it. Whereas nourishment, we actually do need. And so I think food addiction is on a different, of course it's a different category, but I believe it's on a whole nother level. I would even, kind of say or lean towards the idea that it's more challenging, because we have to learn how to operate with it, because it's something we actually need, which is nourishment. But it's so interconnected. God made it to taste good, gave us all these different flavors. But then we have food manufacturers that have manipulated it, understanding the brain and dopamine and all of these things and our pleasure senses. And we have to really then be able to rewire our brain. And that's why I feel like this is something that's even more significant. And I'm not saying significant on the impact. All of these, any addiction has a negative impact. I could be addicted to collecting pencils and it's still harmful because of the effect that it has on, the rest of my life and what it cultivates inside. But like I said, with food, we need to eat food. And so it's this level of understanding, relearning what our body is telling us, being able to separate it from the emotion, and to be honest enough to go to God and say, this is difficult, when we want to just join in with the family and just go along with these addictive, unhealthy eating habits. And let's be honest, you all, I haven't been to an event or around environment to where there wasn't unhealthy patterns of eating going on. Just haven't. We are inundated with it. And so this is why these confessions are important. So when we think about this is, if this is something that you're challenged with, being able to step out because of the pressure you feel from family. Maybe you can't say no because of the people you hang around with or at work, or if I don't do what they want to do, then I'm not accepted. Well, then for you, maybe you want to remind yourself that I'm still valuable, whether I eat this or that, and just individualize it for yourself. Or, if you're someone that feels bad when someone doesn't accept food from you, well, then you can say, you know what? They still love me even though they don't want to eat the food. Or there are other ways to show love other than food. And like I said, it really comes down to us being honest about what our motives are. And we can't get to the bottom of our motives without allowing God in. And so take time to get with God, because what God will do, He doesn't show us what's going on. Remember the movie where the person said, I forgot, I think it was Jack Nicholson. And the guy said, I want the truth. And then he yelled back, you can't handle the truth. Sometimes I ask the Lord, can I handle the truth? But He'll give us what we can handle. He encompasses us and puts us in His covering as He's working us through it, He knows how to, he's a perfect surgeon, he doesn't hit the wrong, remember the game called Operation, if you hit the sides, then the buzzer go off. I saw it on TV. I've never actually played the game. I want to, maybe I should get that. But he doesn't hit he doesn't get off, like he knows exactly where to cut, and, and He takes care of us as we're transitioning through. It's our choice. It's our position to go to Him and ask and be honest. And then He takes us from there. And that's what I want to so encourage you with today in this area, because I believe that if you can tackle or get healed in this area, that it's like almost endless, it'll shine the light on those other areas that you're also bound in. And it'll also show be as an example and a place of confidence, place you can build confidence on. And the idea or the fact that you can get freedom in other areas. You can step out in other areas. And like I said, it's because we still need to be able to operate with food. But it's definitely possible, like how I've shared the different ways that God has shown me and given me strength to overcome from these habits that I just grew up in, and to just be able to move forward free, like just without, being afraid that you won't be able to resist the desserts, or you can't go to sleep unless you have this, dessert. Like, this is torment. This is torture. This is not from God. This is straight from the evil one. And if we can see it for what it is, then we can address it. And then little by little, step by step, put faith in God. How do we do that? Take time and spend time with him in the Bible at the beginning of the day. Going to church on Sunday is not going to help you. It might help you, but you need God every day. We need him every day. And so we have that collective place that we meet and get taught. And then we take that and then one by one go to the Lord. And as we do that, that's where we'll build the trust to listen to him with the next step and the next step. But if you struggle with this is torment. It affects your relationships, everything, your health, everything in so many ways. I just want to encourage you to step out in faith. Take a step towards it. Challenge yourself. You know what? I don't have to drink that today. You know what? I don't have to eat that today. And what I learned that I could do is to say, God, give me the want to. I heard one preacher say that before. And it's something because she confirmed something that came up. Like, it came up in my mind, like, I wonder if I can ask God for whatever. And then she said that shortly after that. And that's how God will confirm things. But then you can be free. And I know that's what you want to experience. True freedom. Not being in bondage to your body telling you that you have to stuff yourself, or you got to spend, you have to eat, this particular food when you go to the movies, or I'm not going to eat too much when I'm around people because when I go home, I'm going to gorge myself because I need to have that place of comfort, because the devil won't leave it like this. He'll cause it to magnify and just completely destroy your life. That's the word said, that's his goal, is to steal, kill, and destroy. But be encouraged, because there's many of us that are gaining victory in this area of food bondage, unhealthy relationships with food. So food is not your comfort. God is your comfort. And guess what? Food is not the only way to express and receive love. Thank you for listening, you all. It's good talking to you. And I'll be back later with some more fit tips and faith health confessions. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.